Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Camilla. Welcome to my home. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Camilla De Cesare, and I recently launched hntr app, an app to help first-time home buyers navigate the process in the UK. And welcome to my home. So I bought this house in 2021 with my ex-husband, and this is a home in a conservation area that was actually bombed during one of the wars. So as we do the home tour, you're gonna notice that everything is really wonky. There's not a single straight surface on the floor. No wall is perfectly 90 degrees. And I actually love that about this house. It has so much character. It's completely imperfect. And I would say my style is just like really colorful. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just really wanted a happy home. So if I saw something and it made me happy, it came into the house. When I first bought this house, it was actually in really good condition, so I don't want to say anything was wrong with it per se. It just really wasn't me. The walls were all gray, and the floor was also kind of like a gray tint. And so I originally started off saying like, I'm gonna do some renovation, which then turned into renovating the entire house. So yeah, the before and after look completely different. There's only some of the original kind of features that I kept, like the fireplaces, I was never gonna touch those, but almost everything else is new. Well, it's old stuff, but it's new to the house. Welcome to the entrance. It was really important to me that you enter my home and you instantly feel welcome and like it is the colorful place that it is. So the first thing that I did was I decided to use traditional mosaic tiles to create this entrance space. When I say I decided, I did hire professionals. I do not know how to tile this. And then there used to be an opening here actually, so you could go straight into the living room, but I wanted it to feel like a little bit more cozy, so I had it closed, had everything painted blue, started collecting art, little place for keys, and then I live in London, so it rains a lot, needed an umbrella holder, but wanted something a little bit cooler. And I decided I needed all the hallways to be blue, so all the hallways are now blue. And then again, more borrowed art from my parents. My dream is to one day have these be like full gallery walls, so everywhere you look, there's tons of art. And I also buy a lot of vintage art on eBay. This was a present from my sister. It's like a cloud painting that I loved from Anthropology. And then I had these custom little lampshades made. I love adding pops of red everywhere. So I had these made, I found her on Etsy, and then these are vintage sconces from eBay. So the hallways are like still very much a work in progress, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. So this was the entrance, and now I'm gonna take you over to the dining room. This is the dining room, and the first piece I really wanted for this dining room is this green marble table, which I had custom made. This room, I don't know if you can tell, but it is a really strange shape. It's really narrow, and it comes really close on one side, plus there's also the fireplace, which meant I actually had very limited space for a dining table, so this had to be a custom dimension. It's much more narrow than a normal dining table, as well as the fact that the rug, if you actually come really close there, you see it's almost touching the wall. TikTok was very mad about the size of this rug, but I'm just here to tell you this is as big as I could go, and this is where the table had to go given the shape of the space, even though I know it is not all centered. This house is like completely imperfect, and I love that, but I agree if you're OCD, probably not the best place for you. I absolutely love having people over for dinner. It did take me 6 months to find the right dining chairs. So what I ended up doing is I found a set of 6 dining chairs on eBay, and then I spent ages trying to find the right fabrics and ended up picking 2 different fabrics that I bought at Liberty London. And then I had my incredible upholsterers who have done almost everything in this house reupholster the chairs for me. So I think they're perfect. I love them. They make me really happy, and they fit perfectly in my little table. I love having people over, and I love having different colors of plates and cups, and my friend actually has her own brand called In the Roundhouse, and so I always try to like support her, and she just has like the most beautiful pieces, so they always make me happy, and people always say it's really fun and colorful when they come over for dinner. This is the original from the house, so I did not want to touch it. It stays exactly the way it is. I did just change the tiles because they used to be these like burgundy subway brick tiles that I didn't necessarily love, so I went with black and white. This is one of the pieces that I think really changed the room the most. It's called Climbing Flowers, I believe. And so I had paneling added and then just wallpaper added in the panels versus wallpapering the entire room. I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep this space white. I think this is going to change one day. And my dream is actually to have hand-painted flowers come like merge on the ceiling. So again, maybe one day I'm going to get to that. Another really special piece is actually this vintage bar cart. I just wanted to do a little nod to my dad because he's helped so much, like in everything in my life, but also with this house and this renovation. And so I was looking for an Italian bar cart that was from the year he was born, or like the decade he was born. And then I found this one on Etsy and I thought it was perfect. So I added it here. Funny thing is I actually don't drink, but I do sometimes keep alcohol here just for guests. And then this mirror, I also found this on eBay. I think it's upside down, but it's been this way since I put it up like 3 years ago. It was only TikTok very recently. A few people were like, I think it's upside down. So I might flip it and see, but I just haven't done it because it's a bit heavy and I'm scared to break it. Then I know it's a weird thing to love a radiator, but I really love this radiator. I decided to put in some cast iron radiators in some of the rooms, not all of the rooms because they were very expensive. And so I really prioritized specific rooms, but I don't know if you can see, it just has like the most incredible detailing. And so I was really excited when it was installed. And then this lampshade, I found this fabric that I had ordered that I just loved, but I didn't know what to do with it. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a lampshade. And when I say I make, I don't mean I make, I mean I hired someone to make it. And then I found this on, I think it was Vinterior, so also secondhand. And yeah, I like her, she's sassy. And then I had these curtains made. I know it's a lot of different prints, it's a lot of different fabrics, but I don't know, I just love it. This is my dining room, and now I'm gonna take you over to the living room. And this is my living room. This is definitely one of the more used spaces in the house. It's really nice to just like plop down, watch TV. The biggest thing about this room is it looks completely different from when I first bought the house. So as I mentioned on the entrance side, there used to be this opening here. So you could just really walk from the entrance straight into the room. I didn't love that because I just wanted it to feel a bit more like protected. So I closed this, it gave me this huge wall that I then got to decorate. And this window was also something that I added. One of the reasons I loved this house was because there's so much natural light coming from all sides. So I just wanted to add even more, and I was able to get this little window approved. Again, I live in a conservation area, so you do need to have all these changes approved first. And then I had this custom bookshelf made. I have the most amazing Italian carpenter, and he made this bookshelf for me. And then I found these really cute little sun knobs on Etsy. I love suns. You can see them also on the wallpaper. And so those make me happy. And then I had this custom onyx desk made. And so that was installed here. And then a matching little cube sculpture, as well as this one, which you can actually plug in and use as a light, but it's heavy and I don't have a plug here, so I've never used it as a light, but I still think it looks beautiful. And then I just like decorated with some of my favorite things. I stole these from my parents, and every time my dad comes over, he's like, my books, I want my books back. And I'm like, you can take them if you want, but they're also really heavy, and so he never does. And so they're here to stay, I think. I spent a really, really long time trying to pick which wallpaper I wanted to add, because I knew I wanted to add wallpaper, but I didn't know which one. And I instantly fell in love with this one. Too bad that this wallpaper was one of the most expensive wallpapers I found that I liked. And so I kept trying to convince myself to find a different wallpaper. And then I couldn't, and I kept thinking about it. So what I did is I ordered a roll a month for 6 months so that I had enough rolls to do the living room. Someone actually told me that's very risky because if you order them separately, the color might be slightly off, but I was really lucky, I guess. They're actually the same, or because they're in their own like frames, essentially, if the color isn't the exact same, I can't see it. But I don't know if I would recommend that. But anyway, that's what I did. And then I found these beautiful vintage candle holders on eBay. And then I've Added some little candles, which I've never lit. I don't know if it's safe to light a candle here, but I just like how it looks. And then I found this really big tapestry on Anthropology. I'm gonna be honest, I really did not want a leather couch. I don't love leather. I know some people do, I don't. But because we have dogs, and my dogs are allowed on all the furniture, and we're consistently getting all the other couches I've always owned very dirty. I was told that a leather couch is probably the best solution for, having my dogs. And so I spent a really long time trying to find a leather couch that I didn't dislike, and then I found this one, and I do really like it because I really like the legs also. I don't know if you can see, but they're like these little circles. And so I thought that was really fun, and it is actually really comfortable because it's quite a deep couch, and I've just covered it in lots of different pillows. And then this, on the other hand, was an old chair that I found on eBay that looked horrendous. Like, it had a hole in it. It wasn't great, but because I have the most amazing upholsterers, I was able to find some upholstery fabric that I loved. And then I had this remade, and I really love this chair, and it is so comfortable. And then this is another one of the rooms where I did invest in the nice radiator because, again, I think these two rooms are used so much. It took me also a really long time to pick which curtains I wanted. I don't know if you can tell, but there's so many different prints and fabrics in my house, and I make these decisions not necessarily knowing 100% if they're gonna go together, but again, it makes me happy and I think it works. And then I also have these little nooks. These I found on eBay. This as well. I'm a really big eBay shopper. I love like eBay, Etsy, Interior, all these places where you can source kind of secondhand pieces. So I just spent hours scrolling. And so I found these. Maybe one day I'll put some kind of cabinetry here, but for now I think that's okay. And then this is the part that I always want to hide because it doesn't look great. So I've been going back and forth for so long on if I should wallpaper behind the TV. On the one hand, I think the room would look more cohesive, but on the other, I'm worried that if you're watching TV, do you really want like the wallpaper suns to distract you? So I'm definitely open to feedback. And then I think eventually I would put the TV up, or maybe invest in a frame TV, or maybe build a frame for the TV. So anyway, I have to say I'm not done with this area, but one day I will be. The fireplace was, again, one of the originals in the house. It's one of the reasons I just fell in love with the house to begin with. So you can actually see the matching fireplaces in the living and dining room. And then I had the tiles added, of course, because it's not exactly like a straight size. The tiler had to create like extra little pieces in the middle, and it always looks a little bit wonky, but again, that's okay. I love the charm of it. I found this coffee table on Interior. It's a 1970s marble teardrop table, and I absolutely love it. It's actually 3 separate pieces. So this piece, it's really heavy, so I'm not gonna do it, but this piece comes up, and then you have the 2 legs, and you kind of piece them together. The moment I saw it, I absolutely loved it, and I knew I had to have it. I bought this after I designed the green marble table, but I didn't have the green marble table yet. So again, I wasn't 100% sure how everything was gonna go together, but I was like, it's gonna be fine. And I think it is. And then, really funny story about the rug. I had a different rug here. And then TikTok told me that I have rug blindness, that the rugs I buy are way too small. And normally I don't always listen to criticism, but I would say this was really constructive criticism, and I agree with TikTok. I did have rug blindness. So I want much, much bigger, and I just bought this from H&M Home, and I gave away the previous rug that I had. And so this is a new addition. So I really hope you guys like it because I did listen to you. And that's my living room. Growing up, I actually moved roughly every 3 years because of my dad's job. So I was born in Vienna, then we lived in Rome. I'm actually Italian, even though I sound American. We lived in Switzerland, we lived in Japan, we lived in Paris, I studied in Canada. And throughout most of those years, I actually lived in places with white walls. So my dad was really particular. He didn't really want me to paint anything because we were renting and we would move again oftentimes. So I understand him completely. And so I felt like when I was able to finally have my own space, it was like all this, how do you say, like repressed, colorful energy that started coming out. And I don't think I set out to make the home so colorful, but it was more if I saw a white wall, I was like, oh, that just doesn't look right to me. And I started adding prints and patterns and colors. Like even just last week, I was painting stripes in my closet room, which I'll show you. And even here, there's still some white. I think if you ever came back, there probably wouldn't be this white anymore either. So yeah, I just kind of take each room as it comes. You'll see there's lots of different antique pieces. I love everything old. I like really love everything old. I don't particularly like modern. I think I grew up living in some really modern places and in some really old places, and I don't think I appreciated the old places while I was there, but now as an adult, I'm like, oh my goodness, when we lived in that like 150-year-old house, that was so amazing. And I look back at pictures and I'm like, damn it, I wish I appreciated that as a 9-year-old, but I definitely do now that I'm in my 30s. I would say the style of my home is eclectic. I'm definitely a maximalist. I love prints, colors, and patterns, and I definitely didn't focus on a cohesion throughout the home. I focused on each room individually. So as I take you through, each room is a different color, each room has a different wallpaper. There are some repeating patterns in wallpapers, but I'd say overall I took each room as its own because I can only be in one room at the same time anyway, so it wasn't relevant to me if my guest room looked really different than my living room, for example. So this is the little powder room, and it's one of the first rooms I've ever in my whole life decided to have wallpapered. It felt like a small contained space so I could give it a go and see if it was something that I was really passionate about. Spoiler alert, I was, and there's now wallpaper everywhere. But I really love it. It's like, I don't know, an enchanted little forest bathroom. And then I found this frame actually on Etsy, and I loved it. And so I bought it, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it, and then I decided to turn it into a mirror. So I had just like a mirror cut the size of the frame, and so this is one of my favorite little pieces in the house. And then I just had to find like a really small sink and a really small toilet to fit so that you can comfortably use it. And then I just found these little pieces on eBay recently, and I've added them. I'm not sure if I'm gonna hang them, but I quite like them there. Okay, let's go to the kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen. This was the biggest transformation of the house, which is quite funny because I actually don't cook a lot, even though I do enjoy buying cookbooks, which I never open. But it was really important for me to create a space that maybe I would use if I decide to cook. And I divided it into really cooking space and then also dining space. My parents actually gifted me this dining table and chairs when I first moved to London about 7 years ago, and I was living somewhere else. And I have to admit, the design of this entire space was based around the fact that I had to find a space for this dining table and chairs because they just mean so much to me. And so that was actually the starting point, was how big can I make the kitchen in order to still fit a dining table and chairs? And so that was the starting point, and that's why there's like a delineation between the two spaces. And then what I ended up doing was doing so many different kitchen layouts. I had never designed a kitchen before because I'm not an interior designer. I didn't know where to start. I didn't, because I don't cook that much, I wasn't sure what like the best layout was. So this took a long time, but essentially ended up landing on like fridge here. This was a fireplace, a brick one, but that you can't use. This is so controversial. I don't like brick, but I didn't want to get rid of it. So what I did is I had it plastered over and then wallpapered. And then my carpenter actually built this unit to match the rest of the kitchen, and it provides me with a lot more storage space. And this is actually the same material as the counters. So if I do decide to cook, I can actually use it. So this is a really functional space as well. I then, because I love everything that looks old, bought this gorgeous Smeg microwave that I found on eBay. And the saddest part is I actually had a matching oven, and the glass shattered 6 months ago, and I've been trying to get the glass replaced ever since, and I can't. So it's hidden in my basement right now, and I just had to get this in the meantime, but it ruins the aesthetic a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so sad about that. And then on this side, you have pantry, and then you have all of like your cute plates. This is probably the best decision I've ever made. I drink so much tea. I drink multiple cups of tea every day. And so I put in a boiling water tap. I've always wanted one of those. There we go. And so then you get boiling water, and I don't need to heat the kettle, and I don't need a kettle on the counter. This is actually true, as in I love keeping really clear counter space at all times. I just don't like when there's like a lot of clutter on the counter, and because I don't cook a lot, it is actually usually this clean. And then I also found this Smeg set. This one I did order from them directly, and there used to not be a door here. There was a door on the side, but I really love being able to see outside and see the greenery, and I wanted as much natural light as possible. So I had a structural engineer come and tell me what is the biggest door I can put in, and this was the biggest I could get. And so they had steel bars added, and then I had to have this custom made in order to fit. But it just makes me so happy to be able to go outside whenever I want. And on a beautiful sunny day like this, you can really let the air flow in. This was another one of the rooms where I invested in the nice radiators. And then this wallpaper and paint is actually very recent. I did this 2 weeks ago. I woke up one morning and this was still all white, and I was like, I can't look at these white walls anymore. So I bought a paint sample, I started painting the walls, realized it was not the right color. So then I took off a cabinet from the kitchen, went back to the paint place, and they color matched it perfectly. And so then I redid all of it. And then I thought, oh, I've never done this before, but I'm sure I can do it. Spoiler alert, I cannot do it. This wall is not straight and these angles don't meet properly. And so I desperately found someone on TaskRabbit to come the same day. And then they installed this. And then I had this wallpaper added as well. And then these little curtains are just from Anthropology. They were already made, they were a bit long, and I just had them shortened. And then I found a little rail on Amazon and I popped these up myself. Just like I do with my dining table, I really love setting up the table. I love different colors. And so once again, I love using all these colorful pieces that my friend makes for in the Roundhouse. I do genuinely love hosting. I just usually like order food instead of cooking because I don't want to poison any of my guests. And then this is a beautiful ginori vase that I've had for years and years. I absolutely love it. And then I just put some dried hydrangeas, which I've actually had for over 5 years, and I feel like they still look pretty good. And then I found this pretty art piece that I put up. There might come a day where there's like a bit more art in the kitchen. I'm not sure, but for right now, I'm definitely happy with how it turned out. So let's go outside and see the outside space. This outdoor area is the only space in my house that I have not touched yet. This is the original layout. These plants were here before. The previous owners had done a great job. I just brought this little table with me that I had and these little chairs. I will one day tackle this space, but I didn't realize, one, how expensive it is to do, and two, nothing has come to me. I usually wake up at 4 a.m. with ideas, and I have yet to wake up at 4 a.m. with an idea for this outdoor space. So this is a later me problem. As someone who's not originally from the UK, I found the experience of buying a home quite confusing. I know that in North America, which is also where I lived at one point in Canada, you have a buyer's agent, you tell them what you're looking for, and then they help you find the properties, they organize all the viewings, they manage all of the actual buying process for you. That's not common in the UK and also not in most of Europe. You can, of course, hire one if you're looking to, but it really isn't standard practice. So you're left trying to book all these viewings, remember which house did I see, which day, who was the agent of that house, what am I supposed to ask when I'm there, because the agent represents the seller. So of course you need to do a lot of your own due diligence, and I just wasn't used to it. It was all a bit chaotic, and I ended up building this like extensive Excel sheet just to keep track of like what viewings I had booked, what I saw, what I liked, which I then gave to all of my friends, and so I was like, there has to be a better way. Once I finally picked the house, oh boy, was I not prepared for the process in the UK. I thought the valuation that the bank did was the same as the valuation that I needed to do, which it's not. You need to do your own valuation with a survey, and the bank does one. You need to hire just a variety of people that I didn't even know kind of where to look for. So I also created a whole checklist with all the steps you need to take in order. What are all the words? Like, what does gazumping mean? And I just wanted to create like a safe space for first-time buyers. It's the biggest purchase you're ever gonna make in your whole life, and you're supposed to be an expert overnight. And so yeah, I'm really excited I launched it this year, and really, really hopeful that it will be helpful for other first-time home buyers to navigate, just the biggest purchase of your life. So hntr app is divided into 3 sections essentially. The first section is what I call a property profile template. So you pull in the information from like Rightmove, for example, but then it also has all the questions you should ask when you're going to see a house, which you can also edit yourself because everybody's going to be looking for different things. And then there's push notifications that are like, hey, friendly reminder, like let's go to your viewing. Hey, friendly reminder, like these are the questions you should ask. So it helps guide you through that. Then the next part is a budgeting template. So it really walks you through all of the pre-purchase, during purchase, post-purchase, and ongoing expenses related to buying a home. Studies have shown that 63% of people actually underestimate the cost of buying a home, and I was definitely one of them. And so I just want to help people really keep track also of like, what have you paid for? When did you pay it? What are the ongoing costs going to be associated to running your household as well? And then the final step is the checklist. So it's every step you need to take to actually like get those keys and which suppliers you need to find during the process. And it's completely free to use. I monetize through the recommended suppliers. If you book the mortgage broker that I used, for example, the mortgage broker provides a referral, which is how the industry works as a standard, because the real estate agent would get the same thing. And then 10% of all revenue goes to Centerpoint, which is a charity supporting youth homelessness, as it's really important for me that this is full circle. I want to help first-time home buyers, and I also really want to help people who might not be as fortunate. Okay, now let's go back inside and let's go upstairs. Welcome to my closet room. When I first bought the house, the previous owners used this as a bedroom because they had children. Because I do not yet have children, I thought, you know what, it's gonna be my closet room for now, and then if one day that changes, that's okay. I ended up buying all of the closets from IKEA, as well as the doors. My dad and I built them all together. We may have almost killed each other doing so, but it all went well in the end. And then wallpaper added here, and then I painted these. So don't look too closely because it is not great. This was the first thing I ever painted, and I didn't know you needed to use primer. And so I just put it straight on, and then it's been, of course, chipping. So maybe I'll fix it one day, but it was a great learning experience. Same thing in these wardrobes. These were actually here before. I didn't add these, but I did paint them and have the wallpaper added. And then I thought, it's not enough to just have wallpaper here. I need to like have more prints and patterns. So what did I do? I found this old, I don't know, little bench, and I bought the matching fabric, and then I had it reupholstered. I bought this mirror, and then I had it reupholstered, and then I had the blinds made with the same fabric as well. It's by House of Hackney, and it's called Hortensia, and I just love it. In my old flat where I was living before moving into the house, I had a feature wall with this, and again, it made me so happy, and I knew I just had to bring it into this house as well. And then this is a very recent me thing, as in me 2 weeks ago. I woke up one morning, and I thought, you know what? I need to paint a striped wall. And so I did. I got all the like frog tape, and then I was trying really hard to like keep everything really straight. At about hour number 7, I was like, why did I decide to do this? And if you remove the mirror, there are no stripes behind there because I was trying to save time. But I have to say, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I am really glad I did it. And then yeah, the ceiling was actually just painted as well as the walls. So I just color drenched it like 2 weeks ago. And I'm really happy that I did. And then these are actually metal because obviously you might knock into it, and I didn't want to like crash a big ceramic vase onto the floor. And then I did put fake flowers. I know we probably have mixed feelings about fake flowers, but I'm not going to just spend the money to like keep putting fresh flowers here, but I love the colors that they add. And this chandelier was the original of the house. So way before the previous owners, it was actually in a different room, but I moved it in here. There wasn't a ceiling rose, so I did have that added in. So this was another really big transformation in the house. There used to be a bedroom here. So there was a door, and then I closed it, and I'm gonna show you why. Let's go. You enter into my bedroom, and the first thing you see is another set of wardrobes. You may ask, why do I have 2 sets of wardrobes? But when I was living here with someone else, this was the wardrobes for one person, and then my closet room was for me. They're IKEA wardrobes, and then I had my carpenter make these little like arched doors for it, and then I found these cute little flower handles on eBay. This wall didn't exist. So this actually used to be one really big bedroom. This was the main bedroom of the house, but because I ended up closing that one room to make it my ensuite bathroom, I had to create a different space in order to be able to put my bed against something, because the bed was originally where the door is now. I'll show you in a second. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna divide the space and make the bedroom like small and cozy, which I really don't mind. So I had this made, and obviously I had to have an arch because I love arches. Okay, so come on and I'll show you what I did. This is also the original fireplace. I added again the similar tiles that I did. I found this really cute vintage chair, and I had it reupholstered. I had matching little lampshades made. These I found on eBay. I did put a mirror in front of the bed. I know this is controversial. Some people have been telling me you're not supposed to, but in my defense, one, I think it looks nice, and two, if you're like lying in bed, you can't see anything. It's too high up. So again, I'm gonna stand by it for now, but I've heard you, not everybody likes this. And then I had this little, I don't know, vanity, I guess, made. So it's just some great space for storage. There's a little mirror and there's just like a little jewelry rack. Something else that's important to note about houses in the UK is you are not allowed to have plugs inside the bathroom. So you can't like dry your hair in the bathroom. And so I needed a space where I could also like plug my hair dryer in and then still easily access the mirror. This was again one of the rooms where I decided to invest in my beautiful radiators. I had the curtains made by the same people. So again, you see like the top curtain thing, which is the official name. I found the curtain holders on Etsy. And then the only thing that is like, bad, because I made the room much smaller, there is not a lot of space for a nightstand. So I had to have these like tiny little nightstands made by my carpenter. They're just like little semicircles. It's enough to put like a glass of water or your phone. It's definitely not enough space to like store things, but I actually find that it makes me keep the space really clean and it's been fine. And then the pièce de résistance, my bed frame, I had this custom made 7 years ago. So right when I moved to London by a carpenter, because I wanted a 2-meter tall pink headboard and I couldn't find one and I couldn't get it out of my head. And so I had it made and then I've kept it with me ever since. It was a nightmare and a half to bring it up to this room. It wouldn't fit, so I had to call my now carpenter. He had to completely break the bed apart in the hopes that we could get it to come through and then rebuild it. And he's honestly my savior. I was in tears. You know those days when you're like moving and it's really stressful and nothing is going as planned and the mirror is breaking and all these things are happening. That's actually what happened. And then the bed wouldn't fit and I was like, it's never gonna fit. And I was just not in a great mood and he came and he saved it and I'm forever grateful because it's perfect and I never wanna get rid of this. And that's the story on the bed. And then this room was actually white for a really long time. I knew I wanted to either paint it or add wallpaper, but I wasn't 100% sure exactly what I wanted to do yet. And so I ended up ordering a bunch of samples and then I fell in love with two. I fell in love with this one and with this one. And so I was like, well, why don't I put both? So I put the striped wallpaper in a lot of the room and then just in the little nooks, I put this really cute one. And I think it works really nicely. They complement each other well and it's quite fun. Again, I did hire a professional to install the wallpaper because I've not tried installing wallpaper myself, although I would love to learn one day. And then I found the chandelier on eBay. So the ceiling rose, there was originally a ceiling rose and it looked exactly like this, but unfortunately, as the electrician was wiring the space for the light, because I created that wall for the room, so everything had to kind of move a bit, the original fell and crumbled, so that was a bit sad as well. But I did find a company that carries like exact replicas and they're made the same way. And so I was able to reinstall the same one. And then, yeah, the chandelier's from eBay. So now I'm gonna take you to the ensuite. So this is my favorite space in the house. And actually, the first thing I bought the day I learned I was gonna get the keys were these mirrors. I bought these vintage mirrors on eBay. I didn't know what I was gonna make this bathroom look like yet. I didn't know anything. I just knew I had to have these mirrors because that is how my brain works. And so I bought 2 of them. And that was actually like kind of the beginning of the design of this bathroom. And then I started playing around and I knew I wanted to do black and white check tiles. I've always loved them. They're so quintessentially like British. And I just knew I had to have them. This is the original fireplace from the house as well. And then this is where things start getting a little controversial. I decided I needed the bathtub in the middle of the room. And I still 100% stand by this decision. It's the best decision I've ever made. And when I'm lying in the bathtub, I get to see that beautiful tree outside. And it just puts me in the best mood. So yeah, absolutely love that. Started adding just like a bit more storage in a few places. I don't know if you can tell, but this bathroom is completely slanted, like completely slanted. Like we tried to have the people installing like the flooring level it as much as possible, but this was like kind of the best we could do. So if you were actually to put a suitcase there, it would fully roll down, which made it really challenging for a lot of this renovation, especially like the shower and getting the toilet to like sit to sit on the ground. I ended up having this like completely custom made unit built because I had put in kind of an existing toilet before, and there was so much silicone at the bottom that you could see just to try to get this toilet to sit straight. So this is a very recent like investment that I made to just have like this custom built. So this was really fun to do. I have an amazing builder who's so patient with me. I like call him all the time. I'm like, I have an idea today. He's like, I'm coming. So he just did this one for me recently. And then I love that there's like 2 separate nooks. So you each have your own sink. I had originally bought these and they had the same front as the top, but I didn't love it. It was really modern, but I wasn't gonna pay to change it because I was like, that's a waste of money. And then it broke. So there was like a whole chunk of it that broke. And I was like, that's my sign. I can now pay in good conscience to have it replaced. But I didn't wanna, again, pay for a whole new unit, have it reinstalled. That didn't seem worth it. So I called my carpenter and I said, hey, could you make me new fronts and can we make them look like a little vintage? And so I sent him the funniest sketch. I'm not good at drawing, and it was just like an outline of a box with a little box inside with like a circle for the handle. And I'm like, can you make this? He's like, okay. But he did. And so these are really cute now. I'm really happy with how they turned out. But yeah, that's how fun it is working with me on a house renovation. And then here, what I ended up doing is I needed like a really big piece of art or something, but I couldn't find anything that fit, that I liked, that wasn't like a bajillion dollars. So what I ended up doing was I had this frame made and painted, and I found these little roses on eBay for £8, and then I had wallpaper installed. So then it makes like this really big piece of art, essentially, that I love and I feel like really ties the space together. And I have been thinking for months about whether or not I should paint the rest of the bathroom this same color. Some people are really like pro making it dark. I did ask TikTok for their opinion. Other people are saying, don't make the space dark. It's like such a beautiful light space. So I am still on the fence. I'm usually not this indecisive, but I just can't make up my mind. So potentially I will paint the rest of the bathroom this color as well. The thing I like the least in this bathroom is the lighting. The UK has really, really strict regulations about the types of like lighting you can have in bathrooms, and they have designated wet zones. I'm not gonna get too deep into this. I had to learn all of this as I was like trying to make my decisions. I had found all these beautiful lights I was gonna put in the bathroom. I sent them to the electrician. He's like, you can't have any of those. None of those are compliant. And I was like, okay. So anyway, this was the best I could do. Is it my favorite? No. Is it terrible? No. Same with the light. It is not big enough. There was a gorgeous, gorgeous chandelier in this room because it used to be a bedroom, not a bathroom, and I desperately wanted to keep it. But that's a really stupid idea aside from being illegal, because you can't have a chandelier above a bathtub in the UK. It has to be the right level of safety. And so this was the best I could do. Not the right size, but again, we're just gonna let that happen. And then the shower. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a shower person. I am really a bath person. So it was very much kind of like an afterthought. I was like, oh yeah, like let me find a shower. So I found these like shower doors, which I now don't really like, but I'm just not gonna change them. So what I did was I started drawing on them. I ended up using some of the wallpaper I had left over from downstairs in the dining room, and I taped them behind, and I had a friend come over and we just started drawing on the shower. And I think it's pretty cute, and you can rub it off. It's the ones that like kids can use as well, but I'm debating whether I just like do it all across the shower. Yeah, this was another one of my 4 a.m. ideas. I had these like stripy blinds made, which are really cute. It is really nice. No one can see in. I've done tests from all sides, so you can actually always leave it open if you want, and like you still feel really private. Also, the little towel hooks for the hand towels are also little flowers. So I love when you can just like find all these little details. I just like love surprising people or myself and looking at it and being like, oh yeah, that's so cute. So now into the little like utility room, I guess. So this used to be the main bathroom in the house when I first bought it, but because I ended up creating an ensuite and I was like, that's no longer a bedroom, it's my closet room, I didn't feel like I needed another like bathtub and shower, but I did really want to create a utility room, which makes me feel like such an adult that I'm really excited about having a washer and dryer, but like that is the truth. And so I added a washer and dryer. And I had this like custom made by my carpenter. There's like a hanging rail there, so I use the dryer, but if I need to hang anything up, I can just hang it there, so it avoids me needing to like open a drying rack. There's tons of storage for all of the cleaning supplies. And then I found these really cute little leaf handles that I thought were just like a little nice touch. Again, this is another really strangely shaped room. And so once I decided that I wanted this, I was like, well, there is still actually a lot of space. You can never have enough toilets. So I added a toilet here, and then I added these tiles, these like William Morrison tiles. And then I found like matching wallpaper. I mean, as matching as can be, like the same colors. And then I love this mirror. It's so extra. It's like this peacock mirror that I found on John Lewis, but I bought it about 3 years ago. Someone asked me recently, but I don't think it's still in stock, but I love it. And then I've just started buying lots of little art to fill the walls. All of these I found like on Etsy. They're like up and coming artists, and I just love it. My goal is to like one day have it all filled with art, and this is where we're at today. And if you come behind the door, I found these little vintage birds on eBay that I thought were really cute. The only thing I was really sad about is there was a beautiful original door here with stained glass, but it was like completely destroyed. The wood was like really chipped in a lot of places. It wasn't closing properly. It was really wonky. I tried to see if I could have it like restored or salvaged, but it was going to be a lot of work, and it wasn't a guarantee. And so unfortunately I did end up replacing the door. But to try to give it like a bit of character, I added these vinyl stickers to it. So not the original, but at least it has a bit of character still. Okay, so this is the guest room, and this is the next room I had wallpapered after the little downstairs loo. I found all of this gorgeous wallpaper at a sample sale, and I was like, I have to have it. And I wanted to create this like magical little room where a guest just feels like cozy and welcome. And so added it all in, found matching fabric, of course, as I do, to have the blinds made, used the original chandelier in the house. So this is the one that was in my bedroom. And then I moved it here. And then what I did recently is I decided to frame these little trees. I just had this vintage frame from like my old flat, and I was like, oh, what do I want to put in it? And I thought, oh, this is actually quite fun. So I also had matching pillows made to match everything else in this room. But there was a little bit of a conundrum because of the shape, as always, of this room. There are closets, which is lovely, but it meant that there wasn't space for a nightstand. So I thought, oh, there has to be something. Who did I call? My carpenter. What did we come up with? This. So you can actually fold it down, and then still open the closet. Funny story, I painted these closets. I did, again, a terrible job. I thought I could use a spray gun. I spray painted like with the spray gun when they were still on, and then everything started dripping. So there were drip marks all over this closet. So then I had to take them all off. I had to sand them. I had to spray them flat. And then now I would like rate it like a 6 out of 10, but if you're like far away, which is hopefully how I hope you're seeing this, looks fine. And then this is the original cast iron fireplace that I really love. I think this one is so, so beautiful. It might be my favorite one in the house. And like the flower details are just so gorgeous. And then I had the tiles put to match like the rest of them. But I just think this is such a cute little room. I've actually slept here before as well because I wanted to try it out to see how it would feel, and I just loved the feeling. And then I found this antique little nightstand, and then I found the lamp base on Etsy, and then I found the lamp shade from another little retailer, and then I just popped them together. And then this is a piece of art I borrowed from my parents' house, which again is now mine forever. Okay, let's go to the guest bathroom. Okay, so this is the little guest bathroom, which, funny story, I said I wasn't gonna touch. I said it's fine the way it is. It was like pretty new. It was all white and modern, and it wasn't my taste, but it was fine. And I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I have no self-control. I did it. This all started out with these tiles. I desperately wanted to put wallpaper. It's not a great idea to put wallpaper by a bathtub. And so I was like, wallpaper tiles? Tiles that look like wallpaper? Spent tons of time searching. Finally found these, and I was like, they are perfect. So I ordered them. I ordered the wrong amount because you need to like align them specifically. So then I ordered more. And these were really the starting point. And then what I did was I took the green that's in the tiles and got these little subway tiles, but I just wanted something that really allowed these tiles to shine. So I popped them there. And then I bought this L-shaped tub. I also did not know that L-shaped tubs existed, but they do. And the purpose of these is really to allow you to shower with more space, but to still be able to take a bath. Because as you can see, it's quite narrow here. So I couldn't have had a bathtub that was as wide as this. And so it just works really, really well in the space. And this is another bathroom renovation that ended up going viral on TikTok. And I had so many questions about this specific bathtub. So I thought I'd explain it a bit more. And then yes, there are windows, but they are tinted so no one can see in or out. And then I had these little shelves made by my carpenter because I thought they were really cute and fun and I can just like add little bits and pieces to it. I really love the toilet roll holder. It's a hand, so I don't know if you can see it. Oh, here we go. But I thought that was really fun as well. And then I'm gonna be really honest, I do not love what I did with the sink area. I was so out of money, I couldn't make any more decisions. I was like, this renovation is never gonna end. And so I bought this like random sink. That's like all I could find. I then ended up painting it. And because the shape is weird, I just like have only tiled here. I do love the mirror. But yeah, I have to say this is not like the best part of the bathroom, but like, let's look at that. That is a nice part of the bathroom. And then I just got some extra storage as well. This is a really nice cabinet that I got from Anthropology so that if guests stay for like an extended period of time, they have enough space to just like fill it up. And then I wanted art in here, but I couldn't find art that I felt matched. So what did I do? I took a picture of the tiles. I printed them. It was like £1 to print them. And then I found these frames on Etsy. And so then I just framed it and I have 2 of them. And so I put 2 of them here. And then I had the whole bathroom painted pink and the ceilings as well. I left the trim white because the bathtub is white, the toilet is white, the sink is white. And so I don't know, it felt like it makes sense to me that those are white, but who knows, maybe one day I will color drench them. This is the last room that I finished. Okay, first of all, actually, let's say that again. A room is never finished in my house. I'm always changing things. But this was the last room that I started renovating. This was just like, we'd stored everything here. And I'm really proud. I actually did these floors. Me, I did them. This was me. I spent hours after work learning how to do it and I was not good at it. But I did it. And I will never, ever, ever do it again. But I did it. And then my dad actually decided that we should have a custom desk unit made here because there was actually a moment in time where my parents were gonna maybe stay more with me in London and sell their house. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into where my family lives because everyone's changing their mind all the time. But anyway, so my dad paid to have this like custom desk unit and I said, listen, you can do whatever you want, but I have to pick the colors. So we agreed, which is a miracle because my dad and I are very similar and always butt heads. But we came up with this and I'm really happy with it. And it's always special to me when I do something with my family. And then I found this secondhand chair and then I had matching blinds and matching wallpaper. These are both from Liberty London. They make me really happy. Can you sense the theme? And then my carpenter once again made these really cute little shelves. And then my sister gifted me this lamp. It was a collaboration between Anthropology and House of Hackney, 2 of my favorite brands. And then the rest of the space is actually like multifunctional. So there is normally, this is like a couch, and then I have this really cute little cloud table that I bought on Etsy. I do actually Airbnb my house now that I don't live in London full time, and sometimes there are guests who are in more, and so we open this bed up for them, and because we have people coming in soon, it's open now. And I also have the pillows that match. And then I love this little gallery wall. These are all just like little up and coming artists. I've like gone to little pop-ups. I found them on Instagram. I found them online. I had some of them custom made and I just keep adding to it. Every time I see one that I like, I just keep adding more and more and they make me really happy. They're so colorful. They're so cute. There's so many talented people out there. I wish I knew how to draw as well. And so this is definitely like my favorite gallery wall in the house. And then, as always, trusty IKEA wardrobes that I then had wallpapered. And I found these on Etsy. I really think doorknobs or like knobs in general can make such a big difference, which is why I've like really selected each one with a lot of care. I do think maybe it would actually make more sense to paint this the same blue, but maybe I'll do that one day. And then, ooh, this is another one of my favorite things. Okay, I found this gorgeous lamp base that's hand painted by an artist, and then this really beautiful lamp shade. And then this is so cool. It's a ceramic base that looks like orange juice, which I found on Urban Outfitters, and then I just put like a fake little flower in it, and I think this is really cute. And then there's a little nightstand. The only thing is, so this is the IKEA sofa bed, the Vimle, and it's like a kind of a gray color. I don't love gray, so I just ordered like new kind of covers for it. So I'm waiting for it to arrive, and it's gonna be yellow and white check. So then that's gonna be really colorful as well. Home for me is actually the people, because I grew up moving every 3 years, and as much as I love this space and I love making a place feel like home, home to me is much more who I'm with than the location. Thanks so much for coming by, Homeworthy. I have some more white walls I need to get rid of, so I'm gonna get going, but I hope to see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.